But there will, because Ireland is really quite a clean country. Although in the future there are new guidelines coming out for levels of particulate matter that are acceptable for health. The EU have certain levels, but the World Health Organization have reduced that number substantially, and it would appear in many of the places where the real-time monitoring is done is that Ireland won't really comply with those new much lower limits. And we don't do any measuring really in those other places, so we don't know so much. For example, let's go back to the Sapphire project, where looking into Enniscorthy and Killarney, hadn't really suspected that, well, there had been a suspicion that there would be more problems with air pollution than had been measured, because no measuring was being done really, very small amount, if any, no real time, is that virtually immediately we find that there's 10 times as much pollution at night on a winter's night. So somebody driving by, somebody walking by would perhaps get quite a gulp of particulate matter because of seeing what's happening in real time. So those are places that weren't even monitored. So I wouldn't go so far as to say that the most remote place in Ireland with no traffic and no power station, no people, sparsely populated, should be monitored continually. It would not be sensible. However, and I'd go back to my point about why I think that part of the strategy to move towards a Clean Air Act would be is that people need to know more and to care more. And I think that the way of doing that would be to have perhaps a local air pollution station. So much more for people knowing where they stand, having some interest locally in their own air pollution would help more than in some places where there wouldn't be such a high air pollution problem. Well, I'm a scientist, so we need to make the measurements, would be my answer to that. As a human being, if I was just John Sodeau off the street, I would say, well, it seems pretty likely to me that would happen. But before I'd commit myself, I think any scientist would say, well, we need the measurements. And that really is my message here, is that we need many more measurements of the type that I'm talking about, the real-time air monitoring, in many more places. But people have to be aware in order to say to their local TD or to whoever, to the EPA, to an expanded EPA, we want that here.